Cheap 80s video game music played over the whole ship. The halls are still and empty, except for at the helm. Two beings fly around in hover chairs, frantically hitting buttons and arguing. "Fuck, Happy, get back to your station. We're gonna get hit," Bug screams as she slams her green, gloved hand down on a flashing blue switch. This took the ship out of autopilot and put it onto manual control. Bug slides her red goggles down from her head and pulls her two orange nubs out of the strap. Next, she pushes a button on her green space jacket, which was the same neon color as her gloves and boots. Two plugs slide out of her gloves into the board of blinking lights and multicolored switches. "What do you know? You're just a pilot," Happy snorted at Bug. He had been plugged into the dimensional navigation panel since the beginning of combat. The 1.5-foot tall, gigantic miniature space penguin had a blue cord running from his red monocle eyepiece to the dim nav panel. He was wearing a 3-foot-tall mechanical penguin's robot suit for battle, and he ran a yellow cord out of his open dome lid. He and Carbine, the ship's mechanic, had designed all of the equipment together. The monocle tapped him completely into the computer's operation system. Only Adrenochrome had more control over the ship's flight path. "Hello, BattleBot. You're my co-pilot." Bug laughed at Happy in his frightful battle suit that was equipped with more weaponry attached to each arm than Bug brought with her into the pits of Malpheus. Happy slugged the last of his energy beer and threw the can at Bug, and then joined her in hearty laughter. "Behind you!" Bug screams and directs fire of the left plasma cannon at a huge demon flying around the side of Fishier X-344. Happy responded in kind by kicking his seat back. Flying to the back of the dome, ripping his control cord out of the dim nav panel, he lost control of the ship's flight pattern. Happy clicked his monocle back to self-power mode and took control of the right plasma cannon. 3 more of the gargantuan centipede creatures flew into viewing range. Bug blasted the head off of the closest alien with an overcharged plasma ball. The body spewed forth hot orange blood into the void of space. The blood expanded everywhere, making it almost impossible to see anything through the helm's dome window. Instinctively, Bug switched over to Spirit Sight, waving her hand through the correct icon. The inside of her goggles lit up with the monstrous shapes. "Adrenochrome, access all information about these creatures right away. They look like some kind of marsipede. We're flying above Razco 9. Happy switched the screen over to computer mode. Bug spoke to her companions and highlighted the creature's spirit energy on her Tridio screen. "Done," was all Happy said, and the dome around them changed to reflect what they were seeing inside their goggles. "Accessing data," Adrenochrome announced, sounding terribly alive over the ship's speakers. Bug sat a moment, reviewing the information that had arrived. "Fly the ship and stop looking at your stupid computer files," Happy bellowed, stirring Bug from her untimely calm. She responded with a wave of her hand, ending the Beast Encyclopedia program, then pulling the ship up hard to avoid a blast of scalding liquid. One of the newer arriving monsters had admitted at the ship. As the ship veered violently upwards, Happy blasted the creature with a spray of energy balls, tearing it apart at the midsection, totally eliminating the upper half of the creature, following through the ship's path of flight. 2 more swipes of her hands brought the ship around to another beast lashing tail, and brought Happy's deatomizer gun barreled to gaping maw with its face, only long enough for him to pull the trigger and completely annihilate the unlucky worm. It was once again completely impossible to see through the warm spirit energy spilling around the ship, and the manual radar only showed one particularly large beep. Then, as Bug and Happy looked at each other in shocked horror, Adrenochrome's voice rang sweetly through the dome. "They are a type of marsipede, the only member of the species that inhabits this side of the galaxy. It's intriguing, actually. There's one sitting on my body right now." Closing her eyes, Bug extended her own sight outside of the ship, revealing one monster on the back of her vessel and one flying towards them. "One is on top of the ship, and I can't shoot it off or I'll take off the left engine," Bug says as she blasts the head of the creature still flying. "It appears to be blocking our radar." Happy hits the static field button, sending an electrical current across the surface of the ship. The shock hits the monster full force. Sparks and electricity wash over the creature. What could have easily grilled an 80-kilo dinosaur didn't even faze this beast, and battle was rapidly exhausting the amount of ship's energy reserves, a mistake that often proves fatal. "If I can only get to the secret button," Happy thought, "then we're going to be okay." Looking at Bug, he grinned and dove for the button on the wall. He never made it. Bam! The screen went out and a buzzer sounded as the light started blinking red. Hope for the ship seemed completely lost. "End program," Bug said shamefully. The lights came back on in the helm dome, and the soothing 80s video game music becomes the dominating sound again, peacefully ringing through the halls. "We suck, Happy. That's a totally easy level of Phantasy Star Spaceball version 2.8. We do this for a living and we can't even beat a video game," Bug added, sounding even worse. "You guys did better than I expected, especially without my help," Adrenochrome chimed through the music, sarcasm not beyond this machine spirit. "What's all the bunch of fucking shit?" Happy mumbles into his spacesuit. I know, I should think we're getting slow in our old age. You know, we haven't seen a cool alien in forever. Look at this planet. There are little fuzzy creepers with skinny arms and one leg. Our people are down there to collect mushrooms. Oh, I'm so scared, Happy adds sarcastically, mimicking the creatures by hopping around on one leg and fluffing up his fur. I mean, really, the coolest thing we've done in a month is when Micro made us the killer acid, and that definitely wasn't menacing or scary. Where are the gnashing teeth, the claws, the world-destroying menace, worse than the most Maljan incarna and uglier than their mama's worst nightmares? Bug sucked in a deep breath. I mean, come on, we're in deep space, uncharted Umber Man, and we're here to put it on the maps. Bug shrugged, or at least to loot and pillage all the magical goods and precious metals for Carbine Teeth on the ship next week, when we go to see him. Carbine, that jerk, sending us out here all alone. He built the goddamn ship and won't even leave the dirt ball but once or twice a decade. Like he has important stuff to do other than help us. Bug rolls her eyes dramatically for emphasis. The Suns never really liked him anyway. The technocrats are still after his bitch ass for that hit mark thing. Bug was cut off short when her eyes caught a red light started flashing on the crew condition screen. Crew member 216 is no longer showing signs of life. Crew member 315 is no longer showing signs of life. Crew member. The computer started reading off the ID numbers of Bug's crew, one by one, followed by the status of flatlined, no longer showing signs of life. Each of the crew members popping up were excavating the planet below, while Happy and Bug waited for them in the ship. The computer continued listing casualties. All of the crew excavating the mushroom site, no longer showing signs of life. Something must have gone wrong. They can't all be... Bug stuttered. Then, swallowing hard, she started pressing buttons on the radio screen. Everyone who went down there is dead. She turned to Happy. Micro is still in the medic laboratory. She'd stay back in case anyone needed to be beamed back to the ship from equipment explosions or hiking accidents. They'd been prepared, of course, but not for this. Not for anything serious. Not from this planet. Spacebug looked through her goggles into the medic's chamber. The inside lens of her goggles changed from red to a perfect view of Micro's room, where she sat sleepily playing Earthbound. She wore her pink medic space skirt and black tank top with the name Twisted in yellow across the front. 2 cones of pink hair topped her head, and an intricate glittery makeup adorned her face, giving her a pricey 1990 porn star look. As soon as she seen Micro was okay, Captain Bug's sight shifted to the outside of the ship. A sickly expression on Happy's face was a sure sign that he was already viewing the red storm of menacing, sinister everything flying top speed towards the ship monsters. The scary, gnashing teeth, tail and tipped winged, mantis-headed creatures were moving faster than they could believe. They only had a few moments. Well, fuck us, Happy grumbled as he emptied a new energy beer in one huge swig. Fuck us, Bug agreed as she threw Happy another energy beer. Wouldn't Carbine just think this was hilarious? We seem to have gotten our wish. Bug closed her eyes and touched the spirit of the ship. Adrenochrome, the ship responded by flashing the lights in the dome. We've got to get out of here and back to Earth. Bug looked at Happy. Her familiar, a penguin from a realm far, far away. She looked at her ship, the Fishier X-344, named after a personal hero of Spacebug. Adrenochrome is the name that Micro had given the ship's spirit, a name that has sort of stuck around. Concentrating on her personal magic and the essence of all that surrounded her, Bug looked through the helm's bubble into space. There was a slight tear in the gauntlet, to her left, 60 degrees. It would still be a 4-minute flux back to Earth, but it was probably their only chance. Happy, take it 60 degrees left into that tear. I'm going to stabilize that rip and direct us back into Earth atmosphere. It's going to be close. With the power stored in the ship and their own twists of unreality, the 2 space pirates opened the rip and went tumbling through the Umbra just before the massive aliens pummeled their ship. Bug closed the tear behind them and hoped that none of the monsters had made it through. The ship flew through the wormhole for about 25 to 30 seconds without any problems. Then it seemed like all hell had come down. Oh shit, something isn't right. Controls aren't responding and power's fluctuating all over the ship. Bug said frantically as her radio screen blinked out. Bang, bang, bang. Something loud was thrashing around in the ship. Sirens sounded and the lights started blinking again. Not because of this fucking wormhole, Happy yells and hits the camera button. Again, their goggles are filled with the camera sight. This time it was right on the other side of the helm's dome door. There, much to their disgust, the main door, a door capable of withstanding a direct nuclear attack without suffering a bit of damage, had been torn through like a piece of paper, as one of the huge monsters stepped through the new hole off of the fin of Fishier 344 and roared horribly. Space wind blew around the beast and started sucking any non-attached or exceptionally heavy equipment out of the tear. Well, fuck. Come on, then, Bug says to her companion as she gets out of the hover chair and readies her gun. Happy follows closely behind her and does the same. Trini, try to drop the gravity as close to 0 as you can in here without exhausting too much power, Bug requested after considering her position. Try to make sure that Micro survives this. She's the only organic we have left. Done, Captain, the ship replied, and Micro will remain secured in her room until you say otherwise. Excellent. Ready, Bird? Let's go, meatbag, the penguin replied. Bug opens the door into the next room where the demon stood standing. Space gets in front of them. They leapt into the room, rolling like 2 round eggs in a pool across the now near-zero gravitational pull of the ship. There, they see it for the first time in the flesh. Standing, gnashing its slobbery giant teeth, the alien waited. Not being too for patience, Bug and Happy started plugging the creature with their custom-made, ether-charged photon guns. Or space cats, as we like to call them. Space Bug and Happy instantly shoot the vile monster with their awesome space cats and blasting it across the room, blowing off an arm. Happy, not caring for any other aliens other than the space fish and Bug, figured if he wanted them to make it home, or at least to Carbine's basement, he was going to have to handle this guy. Blasting a huge bolt of freeze breath, he stopped the creature in its place. Bug and Happy took one breath, and before they had a chance to regain themselves, the monster began to melt itself through the icy prison. The critter looked at the 2 space pirates and hissed. Lava started bleeding out of its shoulder. A beep sounded in Bug and Happy's ears, and they dove for the helm's dome room. The creature blew way the fuck apart. It blasted a chunk the size of 2 elephants from the nuclear war-proof, sun radiation withstanding ship that Carbine swears could not be melted, blown apart, or even budged by anything this side of the 9 hells. Shaking her head, Spacebug realizes they're in Earth's galaxy and out of the wormhole. Heading just under light speed towards Colorado, she could now see the mountains. She moved her energy field a little to the left with a familiar road. Then just a little to the right, pushing the ship with her. She hoped Carbine would already have installed his brilliant gravity-sucking beam to save what was left of the ship. And to save Bug, Micro, and Happy, naturally, he had. Upon returning from a difficult diplomatic debate, Carbine and his guest looked to the sky. From his hill, they could both see a ball of flames flying out of space. The mass vaguely resembled his ship and was headed straight for his basement. Looks like one of Bug's landings. I'll be damned if she hasn't broken the ship again. Hit the button on the side of his arm. Just behind the Hypertech dual pulse ionic cannon implants, and watched Fisher X-344 go falling into his basement. You'll have to excuse me, madame. Something's come falling out of the sky that I must attend to. Carbine showed his lady friend to the main drive on his way back inside. I'll be seeing you as soon as I can. Count on it, the mysterious woman replied. I will be, he muttered, approaching his home. Sure that she was very well out of the long driveway, his mind switched to other things, and swearing and crashing could be heard from beneath his closed basement entrance division panels. Something about stowaways that could speak English, and of course Happy was critiquing Bug's landing. Some things never change, he thought. But some things have to change, thought the fates, commanding their place in the universe. Sometimes things just have to change.